so we're getting started. Sorry, we're having a little technical difficulty in the background. Our star guest can't get onto the webinar, so Teams issue. We're working on it, and we're going to go ahead and go through the intro though while they work to get her on here. So first, we want to thank you all for joining us. Did want to bring you a little message from our attorneys. The views and opinions expressed in today's presentation are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views, policies, or positions of Venture Medical LLC, its affiliates, or partners. The content provided is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be interpreted as legal, financial, or compliance advice. If you need that kind of advice, please seek out a professional. Venture Medical assumes no responsibility for actions taken based on this presentation. Great. So I want to go ahead and introduce our esteemed presenter, Michelle. Hopefully we'll have her on here in just a second. But Michelle Lerma is the CEO of Rogue Medical, which offers over 50 years of combined wound care expertise and provides comprehensive resources to optimize your practice. Rogue Medical prioritizes customer compliance and preparedness by offering comprehensive education on local LCD and MAC regulations, along with detailed product training. Their mission is clear: to advocate relentlessly for life-saving treatments while preserving limbs and improving patient outcomes, all while ensuring our providers remain safe. So at Venture, we love to partner with like-minded partners who are focused on patient care. Those of you who know Michelle know she's one of the good ones. So we're really excited to have her here to talk to you today, hopefully.
Maybe.
All right, so let us see if we can get this technical problem solved and get her going here. One other thing to add, we will be should have some time for questions. Go ahead and put them in the chat. And no, I can't speed up my own voice. Sorry for whoever asked. When you do replay, though, you can. We probably will not get to all the questions historically. So we're going to have a follow-up webinar on the November 24th. I'll tell you all the details later. We're going to bring back all our speakers in this series to answer your questions that we weren't able to get to live. So that should be a great event. We're going to send out the info as to how to submit your questions. And so we'll just have a full hour of question and answer with all the presenters. So that should be great also. Team, how are we coming?
Hey all. Oh, here, I'll put myself on camera. So I have Michelle on speakerphone, and we're doing everything we can to get her access. For whatever reason, her presenter links aren't working. She can't join the webinar. I'm appealing to the masses. If anyone has any suggestions, maybe Howard can do some karaoke while we wait. That'd be great. She's just unable to get into this meeting, and we've been trying since 15 minutes before this meeting started to get her access. So bear with us. If anyone has any suggestions, we'd love to hear them. But if you can hang on just a few minutes longer, we'll keep you posted. Just stand by. We're working on it, I promise. Okay, she was able to be admitted, the guest. Just saw it. Michelle, I'm assuming you're there. Let's see if we can do this. Thank you all for the suggestions. We have tried, she tried from her phone. We were just about to have her go on speaker and share the slides, and then I saw it admitted her. Let's see, make a presenter. Let's see if this works. The fun never stops. Michelle, if that's you, yes, I see her. Hang on, everybody. Woo!
Oh my God, like if I wasn't nervous before, okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so my last question is, do you have the slides pulled up that you can share your
Yes.
screen so you can advance your own slides?
I can see your screen right now.
But do you have it? Because if you are presenting, if you can share your own screen, you can actually move your own slides forward, so I don't have to do it for you. I mean, I can, but just so there's not like a weird pause. And no worries if not. Thank you everybody for hanging in there. Apologies. Oh my gosh, Teams giving us all a heart attack this morning. Super fun this afternoon.
I think at this point, just so we can get started, probably be faster if you just do it
Okay.
yourself.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to take
Agree.
myself.
All right, I'm going
away.
to turn it over to you, Michelle. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, everybody, for the delay. Okay, so I'm Michelle Lerma. I am the CEO of Rogue Medical. I have been in this industry since about 2010. Some of my experience started within Convatec with just basic dressings, and over time I evolved into biologics. During my time with one of the big manufacturers, I had some pretty bad experiences being one of the very, very first skin sub audits to ever happen in this industry. It was an eye opener for me because I learned very early on the importance of understanding exactly what you're selling and the risks that we as distributors and even W-2s for some of these big manufacturers can put on our providers by not truly understanding what we're doing. And I'll be the first one to raise my hand and say I was responsible for that. I was responsible for over $1 million in clawbacks because I was selling products properly educated and put my provider at risk. So I made it a mission moving forward to ensure that anything that I sold, any product that I put in my doctor's hands, that I was going to ensure I knew everything about it and I could keep them safe. So the most important thing that I want everyone to get from this presentation is how to identify that the person that is coming to you with a product, whether it's a skin substitute, whether it's RX, PRP, whether it's UltraMist, whether it doesn't matter what it is, DME, that they have a true understanding of what it is that they're selling to you and that they can keep you safe while utilizing that product. Because ultimately, as a provider, you're responsible for the safety and heal rates of these patients. And you rely on us to bring that knowledge to you when we're presenting something to you to keep you safe utilizing it. So that's what this presentation is going to be primarily about, is how to identify the good ones and the bad ones out there. You go to the next slide. Again, just this is just a little bit more information. The Rogue Medical team, we have over 50, I would say even 100 years of combined wound care experience. We have a great team. We specialize in compliance. We were talking compliance before compliance got cool over here, the last couple of years. Within our network, we have a great team of resources that aren't affiliated with Rogue Medical, but we recommend out into the industry, whether it's a biller, OIG, ex-OIG attorney that now represents audits. So we have a great team and network, as does Venture, to help provide solutions for our providers. Next slide. Again, me again. Okay, why distributor knowledge matters. This slide is probably the most crucial out of everything that we're going to discuss here. Your distributor has to have the knowledge of what they are presenting to you. The days of having your surgical hardware rep come into the wound care space selling you advanced biologics or RX PRP, Ultramist, those days are gone. You have to stay in your lane. You have to be specialized in what you are presenting because there are approved indications. There's instructions for use tied to everything that we are presenting to you. And going off the rails and utilizing these products off label when you're audited, it's not a matter of if, it's when you're audited, it's not going to be very good. And you're going to have to ensure that you have a strong team of attorneys to support you through that process. But all of that can be eliminated if you're aligning yourself with a distributor or, even a W-2 if they're coming into your door that has the knowledge. With that also comes with the ability to identify indications and IFUs, off-label promotion. More importantly, the compliance with the payers and regulatory requirements, meaning Blue Cross Blue Shield. What are their requirements in order to utilize a skin substitute? What are the required A1Cs, ABIs? That differs from what CMS requires. What are the LCD requirements? What are the NCD requirements for that particular product? This is why it is so important that you align yourself with a distributor that understands these things and ultimately that builds a strategic partnership. It gets to a point to where TCCs are on back order. They've been on back order for 2 weeks. My customers call me, hey, Michelle, we're in a back order issue. Find this for me, because they trust me. They know that I'm going to go and find a reputable company that is going to keep them safe. Next slide. Red flags to watch out for. Okay, here we go. You have to find, again, a distributor that has the extensive industry expertise to help you navigate. There's a lot of manufacturers that you don't want to be working with right now. There's a lot of distributors that you don't want to be working with right now. Aligning yourself with, I always say there's a line in the sand, the good guys and there's the bad guys. Align yourself with the ones that are going to keep you safe. And I'm going to give you the tools to be able to vet, even me, everything that I'm saying right now. Hopefully this presentation will provide you the tools to be able to vet every single thing, every single product that's moving forward presented to you. Again, the red flags to look out for, there's no compliance oversight. They're walking in with, a menu of products like, hey, this is how much you can make. You start asking those tough questions. They don't know the answers to it. It's a red flag. Lack of product knowledge or indications, instruction for use. Again, if you have more knowledge with that product at that point than the distributor that's presenting to you, it's a red flag. Improper financial claims. If that distributor is coming to you and I see it all the time, it's literally like a menu. It looks like a spawn menu of all of these products with how much you can make. If the focus of the conversation is how much you can make and not how these products can help benefit your patients, that's a red flag. What are we here for? We're here ultimately for a patient. Reimbursement guarantees, those are illegal. We cannot walk in and tell you, if you're not paid, don't worry about it, or this is guaranteed payment. Medicare Advantage covers everything. We cannot make those claims. Ultimately, when benefits and verifications are ran on these products, there's always a risk. They don't have to pay you. You go through the appeals process, but there's no guarantee of payment on anything. Encouraging aggressive or improper billing creates danger for the provider. This is very, very important. The way that you're billed is very, very important. If a distributor is coming to you, there's a lot of them that are doing this. If they come to you and they tell you, hey, we're going to invoice you at $1,000 for this product. You're going to bill Medicare, but once you're paid, we'll send you a second invoice with what you're going to pay us. You can't do that. It's called a rebate. you have to be very, very mindful of these practices because these are what gets our industry in trouble. We're seeing it right now with the skin subs. All of the other advanced modality, any procedure that you do is going to be at risk. So you have to be aware of improper billing. Next slide. Validating indications or instruction for use. This is really, really important, especially in an audit situation. I have a lot of experience at the ALJ level. I'm utilized as an expert witness for primarily investigational and experimental products. If that product does not have in their IFU certain indications to utilize that product, you have to have a very, very good attorney. You cannot use these products off label. If that wound is infected, you can't use it on an infected wound just because your rep tells you so. You have to comply with the very specific indications and contraindications of those products. And you have to have a distributor that understands these things. And more importantly, understands what it means to ensure that you understand what it means. Reinforces medical necessity. Again, this just comes from experience. You get somebody that was a banker last week that was your buddy and say, hey, you want to get into the skin sub industry. What value does that bring to you if he doesn't understand that you need somebody that's critical at this point to ensure that you're following the requirements to use that particular product and ensure that the medical necessity is there to utilize it? Because ultimately, at an ALJ level, it's about medical necessity, but you still have to comply with the indications and instructions for use of that product. It serves as proof of due diligence. As a provider, you also have to take it upon yourself to understand how to do your due diligence. Again, if I come to you and I tell you you can use this product in certain situations, do your research. Ask, challenge us. Where's the instructions for use? Where's the research? Where's the data on this particular product? Validate everything that we're telling you. Do your due diligence, because ultimately you're the one that's going to be responsible at the end of the day to defend yourself when you're audited, and that strengthens your audit defense. Understand why you're using these products. Is it a double layer graft? Is it a 510K product? Is there tunneling? Is there undermining? Understand exactly why you chose that particular product in that very specific situation in that patient. Next slide. Steps to validate product indications or instruction for use. Okay, review. Ask your distributor for all the proof, all of the necessary resources, or to give you direction where to find them. Hopefully they provide them to you. That would be a great distributor. And review it yourself. Everything that they're saying, validate that yourself. Verify. Verify payer policy alignment. Ensure that there is specific coverage. Blue Cross Blue Shield's very specific what products they cover. If a distributor's coming in and telling you that you could use product A, B, C, and D, validate it. What does Blue Cross tell you you can use? Document medical necessity. Very, very important. LCDs, NCDs, they provide you that guidance and educate. The staff has to be educated. It can't just be the provider coming in and talking to the office manager. The distributor has to come in and do a full-blown in-service, quarterly in-services. There's turnover. There's changes in clinicians that are coming into your practice. Quarterly in-services they should be mandatory. Ensure that everybody is on the same page, that they understand the medical necessity requirements for their documentation, and that all of your staff is fully educated and has full understanding of the products being utilized. Next slide. This distributor's role in the validation. Again, supplying the approved use documentation. If you need an IFU, if you need the FDA clearance, if you need studies, if any kind of policy updates. I'm kind of a nerd. I lay in bed at night and I just review policy. It's kind of weird. But that is my responsibility to the providers to ensure that all of these advantage plans, they can change from literally 1 month, mid-month to the next, and just change on you out of nowhere. So as a distributor, again, if I am providing you a product, I have to ensure that as you're utilizing that product, that you're going to be, I don't want to say that you're going to be reimbursed because there's no guarantee of reimbursement, but I'm helping you stay ahead of any changes, and ultimately support audits. In the case that you are audited, we provide all of the support, all the documentation that is necessary to help you fight that. Next slide. Case study 1, unsalvageable audit defenses. And these come from my personal experiences, being tied to some of these audits that I've been involved in. So this is an example of a distributor that got somebody in a lot of trouble. Overutilization of a product where 50 square centimeters were utilized, leading to an overpayment demand in excess of 30 million for provider. So what happened here was there was a particular product that this big distributor had purchased at some great discounted rate and told the provider that the only size that product came in was 50 square centimeters. So he was putting 50 square centimeters on 1 square centimeter wounds. So when I got involved, I told him, this graft comes in like 15 different sizes. And he said, no, it only comes in 1. I can show you the proof from the distributor. But at the end of the day, he ended up having to pay almost $30 million back. Not all 30 million were tied to that particular thing. There was a lot of other things that kind of happened in there, but that was a big chunk of why the overpayment was ultimately flagged, was the overutilization. So it's very, very important that you align yourself with distributors that will keep you out of these situations. Next slide. Application of product day 1 at the direction of the distributor and manufacturer due to the IFU stating acute wound indication. This one led to a $1.3 million recovery. So going back to medical necessity, we all know that if that wound is infected, we all know that if that patient is a diabetic and they have A1Cs of 15, those are contraindications to use a skin substitute. So for a distributor to come in and tell you, don't worry about any of that stuff, we'll figure that out within the next 4 weeks. You can use this product day 1. You cannot. A skin substitute cannot be used day 1. Conservative care, medical necessity, going back to medical necessity, those things have to be completed prior to you moving on to an advanced modality. So our responsibility is, as distributors, is to make sure you don't get information like this that you won't be able to beat in an audit, especially if there's infection that's discovered and all the other underlying comorbidities that aren't addressed. It's our responsibility as distributors to keep you safe. So we need to educate you on the proper IFUs for these products. Next slide. The provider partnered with a distributor and an LLC, sourcing the product with a stock and bill method, ultimately selling to the provider's own mobile group. So this was a big group that the distributor and the doctor ended up making a LLC together, shared profit splitting, but sold to the provider's mobile group. You can't do that. You've got to stay in your lane. If you're a biller, stay in your lane. If you're a distributor that specializes in wound care, you stay in your lane. If you're the provider, stay in your lane. It'll ultimately get you in a lot of trouble here. Next slide. The wife biller of a husband provider sourcing their clinic products while providing billing services to network of doctors also sourcing them products. So there was this provider, his wife was his biller and became the distributor for the provider, which can't do that. It's a violation of Stark law. You can't sell to your husband. But also within this huge network of billers, of doctors that she was billing, she became their distributor. So she was billing, getting compensated for whatever percentage that she was billing for the collections on reimbursement, but was also the distributor. Big no-no. You cannot do that. Next slide. Okay, so putting it all together, evaluate your distributor's expertise. You know, we've talked about that. You've got to vet your team. You would not hire a clinician in your practice that was going to be a danger to your patient. That is a huge risk to you. Your distributor should be seen the same way. What knowledge do they have? What value do they bring to your team to ensure they keep you safe? Because again, it's not a matter of if, it's when you're audited. Did that distributor's knowledge ensure that when you're audited that you're going to get through this on the right end of it? Watch for the red flags, all the red flags that we talked about. Lack of transparency, poor communication, financial instability. If you have one of these distributors that doesn't have a tissue license, it's walking in with a trunk full of products, and he's billing you, you're paying that distributor, that's a red flag. Be careful with that. Prioritize validation of indications. Ensure you and your distributor has robust processes in place to validate product indications, which is crucial for audit defense. Build your own little, wound care committee. Any product that's presented to your practice, have there be a group of you, have it be presented. Validate all of the FDA indications, all the policies, the allowables. Validate that yourself as a group when all of these products are being brought to you, to ensure that you keep your practice safe. And then consider the long-term partnership. Evaluate the distributor's ability to be a strategic partner and contribute to your company's long-term success. There is a patient tied to everything that we do. I love being the resource that I am for my accounts. I'm not just a sales rep. I'm a consultant, and I am part of the team. If I don't know an answer to something, I find somebody that's way smarter than me to get me a solid answer, and it's validated. Where's the proof? Can you get that for me in black and white? And then I present it to my account. But that long-term partnership is very, very important for your practice, but more importantly, the success of your practice, when you're aligning yourself with the right people. Next slide. A knowledgeable distributor is your first line of defense. When that product walks through your door, when you are making a decision as a practice to bring something in, what that distributor is bringing to you can bankrupt you. So you have to choose a compliance-minded partner. You have to find a distributor that truly understands this industry. Lab, they're specialists. They specialize in lab. If you have a lab rep that's jumping in trying to sell you skin subs that they know nothing about, be concerned. We have to stay in our lanes. We have to be specialized. Just as a neurosurgeon is specialized in their practice, a podiatrist is specialized in their practice, so are we as distributors. We specialize in what we know, and that ensures the compliance on your end. A knowledgeable billing and coding team is your last line of defense. This is very, very, very important. You have to choose an industry-specific billing specialist. If your biller has no idea how to bill a skin substitute, has no idea how to bill a split claim, has no idea about modifiers, and they just keep ramming these claims through multiple times, every time, that's a red flag. You're eventually going to be audited. In my experience, I have seen, and this is my personal experience, when I'm involved in these audits, billing is the number one issue that got them into the situation to have that hood lifted up to where they want to kind of take a peek underneath it to see what's going on, because the billing was so sloppy. So they assume the billing's sloppy, so their documentation is probably sloppy, and they're right. So your billers are extremely important to keep you safe, and they're the ones that are your last line of defense. If your coding is off, or there was something missing in your documentation, they can't change that. They can advise or give a recommendation on updating your diagnosis codes or whatever it is. But that is your last line of defense, which would lead to, if or when you're audited, ensuring that you hire an industry expert that specializes in audit defense when the time comes. There's a lot of attorneys that are jumping into this industry right now with all of the audits that are happening, and they are costing a fortune for these providers, and they have no industry experience. They have no idea what they're doing. They're calling me for help. You have to ensure that you're aligning yourself with a full team of protection, from your distributor to your biller, and then ultimately, when the time comes, a proper audit defense team, like y'all saw in the previous segment. I love David. David's great. He's someone that I highly recommend for anybody that needs him. Next slide. Okay. That would conclude my presentation.
Great. Thanks so much, Michelle. I echo many of the things you said. This is why Venture provides all of the support services that we've been talking about, and why we're putting on this seminar, so that we're trying to give you guys the information you need to avoid trouble. We do have a couple questions in the chat, so I'm going to read those. But before I do that, I want to thank you again for joining us today. There will be a recording of this presentation posted on our YouTube channel, and you'll receive a follow-up email when that's live. Also, as I mentioned earlier, we will be holding a special bonus Q&A webinar to end this webinar series on November 24th. We'll be bringing back all of the past presenters we brought in to answer your questions. Our CEO, John Schroeder, will be moderating that, and you do need to submit questions ahead of time, so here's the information about that. Please keep an eye on our LinkedIn page in your inbox for more information on how to submit your questions. Okay, let me pick out a couple of these.
Find the easy ones.
Okay. Who is the most qualified audit consultant you're aware of? Engage, Woundgenics, Oberholm, anybody else? Michelle, do you have an opinion?
So I highly recommend David Traskey with Garfunkel Wild. Highly recommend.
Okay.
He's actually who I recommend for my own personal accounts.
Yeah. Mednac with Dan Cap, if you're
Yes.
not looking for a lawyer. So let's face it, you need both, because somebody's got to be the lawyer and somebody's got to be the expert.
Yes.
So those are people who we worked with. There are others. If you want to reach out to us, we're happy to give you some other names, but I highly recommend you get a good lawyer who knows how to do this. Like she's saying, let's not be at training wheels, and a good consultant who can really advise the ALJ on what the truth of the matter is.
Yes.
And get it early, because remember, if you do not get evidence put in before the second level of appeal, you're closed out. You can't add additional evidence. So don't wait until it's too late. We had a comment. Auditors are asking, why did you choose that product and what literature do you have? That's something you should be asking your reps for, so that you have it in your file. Currently seeking new billing services. I don't want to be an ad board here, but do you have questions, Michelle, that you would recommend people asking to determine if the biller is equipped to properly bill for biologics?
So what I would highly recommend any provider on this call, ensure that you are having bi-weekly, if not, some of my providers, they have a call every Friday with their billing team, minimum once a month with your billing team, and review the denial rates. That's a biggie. Why are these being denied? Why are my claims being denied? Is it because you don't know what you're doing? Are you using improper modifiers? Are you using the improper codes? Billing is crucial for your practice. But more importantly, you're identifying all the money that's being left on your table. With those denials, that's a delay in payment. What's the reason here? So hold them accountable. Ask for AR reports. Ensure that they're not just going after the higher paid procedures. Even your office visits, those are equally as important. So I think I got off track. Did I answer that question?
I would say, if you ask me, you have to ask them what their history is with billing
Yes.
biologics, and ask them some questions and see if they are up to date on the LCDs. They know what the latest on the codes is, because they keep tinkering with those modifiers, and you got to do that right. But some MACs are different than others. So ask some questions, and like Michelle said, and we've all learned this lesson, but you're hiring someone out to do something for you. In this case, the billing, but you are still responsible. So you cannot let go of the rope and not pay attention to it. You have to be overseeing what they're doing and making sure you understand what's happening and why.
Yep.
So don't just leave it to someone and hope for the best. If you want to get a good outcome, you have to drive the bus.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, and you also have to ensure that they aren't, if you utilize skin substitutes, that they just don't want your skin substitute business. If you're a podiatrist, ensure that they have full understanding of the podiatry specialty. They have to bill for everything. They can't pick and choose what they want to bill. That's important also.
this one's pretty specific, but this person asked, their auditor suggested porcine as an alternative. Can you please provide some comment on porcine? As an old PurePly person, I know you can you can comment on that.
So the auditor was recommending utilizing porcine over an amnion?
That's what it sounds like.
I don't know if I wouldn't be able to answer that, because that would absolutely be the doctor's recommendation, not an auditor's, and it would be specific to the etiology and the comorbidities of that patient.
Yeah,
That's a tough
agreed.
one.
Those are very different products, and it's probably beyond the scope of this to really go through the differences. But if you are a venture customer, please reach out to us. We'll be happy to talk through what the difference is and why you might use one in some cases and another in another. One of the key things is you need to pick something that fits for what you're doing.
Correct.
Right? That's the most important part. And be able to explain why you picked it. There's tons of data for the products we carry. We have a ton of data we could give you and talk to you about that in detail. Someone said it's unethical for an auditor to be suggesting product. I don't think auditors have ethics, but it's certainly not a good idea.
Yeah, I know. That's why it kind of threw me off. Why would an auditor be recommending a product?
Well, I have seen that anecdotally happen, where they basically said, you picked this one instead of that one, and why? And they have some favorite for some reason. None of them are doctors, so I don't know where they got that from. But
that's why it's important when you are under audit to understand, because they will ask you, why did you choose that particular product? You have to understand why. Was there heavy exudate? Did you use a full thickness graft because of the exudate? Those are the things that you have to understand when you're utilizing these products. Very, very important.
All true. Someone noted that changing billers is painful. It's a multi-month problem with some blackout. So do you have any advice on the transition of billers?
It's just a painful process.
Yeah.
It just is. But if the longer you wait, the longer you're going to bleed money and the longer you're at risk. So the faster you just start with that transition, the faster you'll come out on the end. it will be painful.
Yep, agreed. There's some questions about the PFS. We're not going to try to tackle that today. I think we're going to have some follow-up webinars about that. Venture put out a statement, I think earlier this morning. Generally we are not happy with the way the pricing changed, but on the other hand, I think we're going to keep pushing on it, and at the same time, plan to deal with the situation on the ground. So, but we will have some follow-up webinars about that if you want to learn more about that, and we're happy to, of course, talk to anyone who wants to talk about it. It's complicated though, so I won't try to deal with it here. All right. I think those are the key questions. Again, if I missed something, or if we didn't get to you in a prior meeting, we're going to have this bonus Q&A. That should be great. We do want to give the speakers some ability to prepare, so we are going to ask that the questions be submitted beforehand. So please look out for that. And Michelle, thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you all for
And
having me.
And thanks to everyone who joined. This was a great series. Hopefully it was helpful for everyone. So we will wrap it up until the Q&A again on the 24th.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.